where we left off. We were trying our very best to get to the castle and save whomever we were needing to save. But we had to cross the bridge, and the troll gave us these clues because we had no money in our pocket. And if we don't solve his riddle, he's going to push us into the water. So we are under pressure. And at least we made some headway in the last video. We were able to represent his clues mathematically as a system of equations. What I want to do in this video is think about whether we can solve for this system of equations. And you will see that there are many ways of solving a system of equations. But this time I want to do it visually, because at least in my mind, it helps really kind of get the intuition of what these things are saying. So let's draw some axes over here. Let's draw an f-axis, that's the number of 5s that I have, and let's draw a t-axis, that is the number of 10s I have. And let's say that this right over here is 500 10s, that is 1,000 10s. And let's say that this is, sorry, that's 500 5s, that's 1,000 5s. This is 500 10s, and this is 1,000 10s. So let's think about all of the combinations of f's and t's that satisfy this first equation. If we have no 10s, then we're going to have 900 5s. So if we have no 10s, we're going to have 900 5s. So that looks like it's right about there. So that's the point. 0 10s, 900 5s. But what if it went the other way? If we have no 5s, we're going to have 900 10s. So that's going to be the point. 900 10s. 0 5s. So all the combinations of f's and t's that satisfy this are going to be on this line, are going to be on that line right over there. And I just draw a dotted line just because it's easier for me to draw it straight. So that represents all the f's and t's that satisfy the first constraint. Obviously, there's a bunch of them, so we don't know which is the one that is actually what the troll has. But lucky for us, we have a second constraint, this one right over here. So let's do the same thing. In this constraint, what happens if we have no 10s? If 10s are 0, then we have 5f is equal to 5,500. Let me do a little table here because this is a little bit more involved. It's a little bit more involved. So for the second equation, 10s and 5s. If I have no 10s, I have 5f is equal to 5,500. F will be 1,100. I must have 1,100 5s. If I have no 5s, and this is 0, and I have 10t is equal to 5,500, that means I have 550 10s. So let's plot both of this point. T equals 0, f is 1,100, that's right about there. So that is 0, 1,100 is on the line that represents this equation. And that when f is 0, t is 550. So let's see, this is about, this would be 6, 7, 8, 9. So 550 is going to be right over here. So that is the point. 550, comma 0. And all of these points, let me try to draw a straight line again. I can do a better job than that. So all of these points are the points. Let me try one more time. We want to get this right. We don't want to get pushed into the water by the troll. So there you go. That looks pretty good. So every point on this blue line represents an f-t combination that satisfies the second constraint. So what is an f and t, or number of 5s and number of 10s, that satisfy both constraints? Well, it would be a point that is sitting on both of the lines. And what is a point that is sitting on both of the lines? Well, that's where they intersect. This point right over here is clearly on the blue line, and it is clearly on the yellow line. And what we can do is, if we drew this graph really precisely, we could see how many 5s that is and how many 10s that is. And if you look at it very precisely, and actually I encourage you to graph it very precisely and come up with how many 5s and how many 10s that is. Well, when we do it right over here, I'm going to eyeball it. If we look at it right over here, it looks like we have about 700 5s, and it looks like we have about 200 10s. And this is based on my really rough graph, but let's see if that worked. 700 plus 200 is equal to 900. And if I have 700 5s, 700, let me write this down. 5 times 700 is going to be the value of the 5s, which is $3,500. And then 10 plus 10 times 200. 10 times 200, which is $2,000. $2,000 is the value of the tens. And if you add up the two values, you indeed get to $5,500. So this looks right. And so we can tell the troll, I know how many $5 and $10 bills you have. You have 700 $5 bills, and you have 200 $10 bills. The troll is impressed, and he lets you cross the bridge to be the hero or heroine of this fantasy adventure.